Hello, Cheers to Business listeners. I'm Ashley Smith, Vice President of Wholesale Pharmacy for DocRx and listener of Cheers to Business. And I want to tell you about the great company I work for. DocRx is a family-oriented company dedicated to tailor operational solutions for patient health and compliance programs that increases the quality and efficiency of patient-centered care, and always with the mission of the patient's health first. With over 10 years of experience helping doctors and their patients with diagnostic tests, patient monitoring, medical supplies, compliance, wholesale pharmacy, physician dispensing, billing, and much more. DocRx is your patient and health compliance solution, both under one roof. To find out how DocRx can help you, your hospital, pharmacy, physician's offices, and any PPE you need for your businesses, please visit us at docrx.com. That's docrx.com, docrx.com. Now enjoy the show.
Your purpose should keep you going every single day. What is your purpose as a human being? And once you start understanding that, you come up with something that will power you and fill you every single day to get you to the next level. So that's my challenge to people. Live the life that you talk about, live the life that you hear, live that type of life. Don't operate in fear. I'm still growing. I'm still learning to do life without football, but I'm taking the same principles and traits that made me very successful on the football field and just putting them into life and putting them into business.
Hey everybody, welcome to the show. Today we have part 2 with Brandon Maye. You may have known him from his football days. You may have known him from our community. And if you didn't listen to the first one, you better go on back and listen so you can get the backstory. Because today we're going to talk about where he is now, where he's going in the future, and how he leads, not just with words, but he leads by example. Hey, I'm Karen. I'm a former CPA, entrepreneur, business consultant with big ideas.
Welcome to Cheers to Business.
Mr. Brandon Maye, I'm going to welcome you back to part 2 of our conversation.
Thank you, Miss Karen. I'm excited. It was so good last time. I had to go too.
That's right. No, we just too much to talk about. You're so interesting, and it's just Karen. I appreciate the respect, but thank you. It's just Karen. Last week we talked about your time at Clemson and going to NFL and your mom who you love dearly, and you get through this and then you get hurt and you get to such a dark place and you wrote a book. Oh, and by the way, I went on Amazon and bought your book. I don't have it yet. And it said the last one in stock. So you need to restock Amazon.
Okay, yes, man. Yeah, that's crazy because actually we've been pulled it off Amazon. You don't have to buy it. I got it for you. And I'm not sure what Amazon got going on. They probably selling my stuff, taking people money and not giving the book. So I'll give them a call.
Oh, wow. Well, I'm glad that it went down like that so you can follow up on it.
Yes,
That's
ma'am.
Interesting. All right. So you've written the book, and that's kind of where, you're coming from that healing. Is that correct to say? It was a healing process?
Yes, ma'am. I know we stopped last episode talking about the injury and kind of where I was basically at the pits. And I went from this spot of going high as you can go as a human being to the pits. And, every human being will experience this type of feeling in their lifetime. And the response is very important, how a person responds. It's a nice little quote out there that says, it's not how hard you get punched, but how hard you can get punched and keep going. Right. So you're always going to go through things. And I had to really live up to this quote. I had to think about this quote. I had to immerse myself in this quote. I had to think about this quote with a cast on my leg and a broken dream and really feeling like that it wasn't worth living anymore. I really hit the lowest point you could hit. And that's when I wrote the book, and my grandma, she challenged me to let my pain go into something. And I began to write, and it became my healing process, the restoration process. And that's when I launched my entrepreneur thing, and things just kind of went back up again. Of course, it was like up a little bit, then go flat, then up a little bit, one of those type of deals. So I feel like I'm still in the process of restoration. It's been over 7 years, but I'm still growing. I'm still learning to do life without football. But I'm taking the same principles and traits that made me very successful on the football field and just putting them into life and putting them into business.
I was thinking about us taping today, this morning when I was getting ready, and I was thinking, when stuff happens, first you look for who's to blame, and then it's, oh, why is this happening to me? And I don't think it's until we get down to the most painful part that we go, all right, Lord, what do you want me to do? Until you get to that point.
Right. we all have, like I said in the last episode, we all have our plans, our goals, our mission for ourselves, and then God is up there. And he's just like, this woman, this male, do not know that I have a different plan for them. And it's just being able to be at the point of submission to self. Like, I'm going to die to self every day so I can hear from God. I never shy away from my relationship with Christ and being able to hear his voice and, Holy Spirit being able to guide me and tell me what's my next step. And that was huge for me. Actually, during that time, I went into that low point. I started visiting a couple churches, going to late night revivals. I went back to my roots, like my grandma would say. We went back to our roots and really just dug deep to find myself. So if anybody is watching this or hearing this, you have to go back to that secret spot that your secret spot. Not everybody is a religious individual, but your secret spot that awakens you, the inside of you, your fiber, your being. Recall that one incident or that one thing that you did as a human being to get yourself back going. You go back to that spot when you hit those low points, and that's how you keep going. Because life is a journey. It's never a destination.
I love it. If you just listen, you don't have to be religious. You could be spiritual. You could be whatever you want to be. But I think instinctually that, it's ingrained with us what we need to do, what we're supposed to be, whatever that is.
Right. Some of the most unreligious people in the world, they operate with the principles that we talk about in the church. And then you got some of the people that go to every Sunday school, every church service, and some type of way, they operate in fear. But you got people that are not even religious. They're using the principles that we're talking about on Sunday. So that's my challenge to people. Live the life that you talk about. Live the life that you hear. Live that type of life. Don't operate in fear.
My daddy used to say two things. One, don't sweat the small stuff. Another was treat people like you want to be treated. You want to be treated like crap? Treat people like crap.
It's karma. It's going to come around. It's going to keep coming.
Well, we're kind of going forward with where you are now and where you're going. So name the different businesses you have right now.
How many hours you got now? I'm just playing.
I can go back with you now.
Really, one of the things that I wanted to do coming into the year, and it even started last year, is I wanted to go from being a machine gun guy, like trying to shoot 1,000 bullets and really hit nothing that great, like just hit something here, hit something there. I was trying to do too many things. We do that a lot in business. Like, if you're a young entrepreneur, you really struggle with trying to find that one thing that you can grab to and blow up with. And so you just get your gun out and you just start shooting like crazy. Now I want to take the sniper approach where I find those one or two things that I'm very, very good at. And I want to focus in on those things so that I can get my maximum results from those. So I've been focusing in on creating a cash flow business. That's one thing that you have to have when you're in entrepreneurship, something that creates cash flows for yourself. And my pressure washing company is actually my cash flow business. Then I have multiple businesses after that, where it be real estate, the motivational speaking, where I go around the country and speak. So I guess that would be considered a cash flow too. But all these things funnel into like the real estate, where I do my long-term investments, where I hit my chunk money, but I got money coming in every week because we're doing the pressure washing. So I do pressure washing, I do real estate, and I do motivational speaking. And we're working on some other things with some franchises where we're going to look more for the long term, just like we're doing with the rental portfolio. So just being diverse, creating a diverse portfolio where you're being very, very profitable, and then also being able to keep cash in. Business do not fail because of infrastructure always, right? Business fail because they run out of money. So trying to create ways to keep the money coming in so that we can grow our business.
Yeah, people try to kind of squirrel off, and you have to protect that bread and butter.
Right. I tell people all the time, I say, are you one of those human beings that when your friend call up and say, hey, Brandon, look, I'm watching this commercial right now, and that's a cool idea on this commercial, and I think we should go for it. I used to be that guy. Every time somebody called me, they got an idea. I'm like, ideas not paying bills no more. We're not jumping on ideas. We like trying to be really, really effective at what we do.
Exactly. I mean, if you got the money to start up one, you do not have the money to start up five. I think that's great advice. I heard what you were doing with your foundation. I like just giving back. You have to give back. How are you fitting the foundation in with your businesses?
So the foundation is something that's at like the birthing state. I'm working on right now, really understanding, really challenging myself to understand that I can only go so far as the one human being, Brandon Maye. So in the foundation, I got 5 board members, and we are collectively coming up with ideas each meetings to see what do we do next, what moves are we going to make, how do we define the mission statement, what are the things we can do to allow ourselves to be able to create partnerships around the city to push our foundation. And so I'm really at the beginning state. I haven't been going as hard as I can go on it because I'm trying to make sure that the infrastructure of it, the being of it, the layout of it is good. Now, my future plans is to bring somebody in to work as the president, CEO, so that I can build that team up. That can be its own business, its own team, because I know it's only so far that I can go as one human being. So I'm working on that right now, and I'm fitting it in by actually using some of the proceeds and funds from what I'm producing in my business to help out with the foundation, to come up with things for the kids. My biggest thing is there's a high rate at the Mobile jailhouse.
Metro?
Yeah, the Metro. Yeah. My thing is there's a really, really high rate of African-American males primarily. And I feel that it is centered towards the beginning, like the way they grew up, the way they was thinking, the opportunities that they had growing up young. So they tried to, make fast money with drugs, or they put themselves in a situation where they're doing a really, really bad crime. So my thing is a little thing I like to say all the time. If I can decrease the enrollment at the Metro, then I can create some success in the inner city. So I've been working mentally on some programs in my mind to put into the school systems where, at a young age, where we can help these kids actually have a vision for themselves, where they can actually feel like they can be successful. And they can look at me and see these tattoos on my arm. They can see these dreadlocks and say, hey, look, he kind of looks like us. So if he did it, then I can do it. So I feel that that's a direct correlation between success, education, and also entrepreneurship. All those things go hand in hand. A lot of people like to say, oh, okay, if you don't go to school, you don't get a degree, then you can't be successful. And that's what a lot of these kids take on. And that's why they end up at the Metro, because they try to live the fast life. So if I can bring in the forms of entrepreneurship in a really, really cool way, education-wise, and help those individuals that want to, grow in education, go all the way up and get their degree, and then help those young men or young ladies that are really, really good at probably starting a business or getting a trade and actually using that to keep them out of trouble so they can help their mindset, right?
Oh, I love it. You're leading and teaching by example, not just words saying this and that. And I tell you what, I think that's so smart. To me, it's the chicken and the egg. I mean, if you can get those educated and then out, and then they're showing the kids that the jail doesn't have to be the place you'll end up. To me, it's the life circle.
Yeah, a lot of people talk about the problem. Not many people talk about the solution. And then I go a little bit further when they talk about the problem in the solution. Say that one individual talks about both of them, but they don't have a plan in place. They don't take the time to do their research and see what's actually causing these problems. Even in the city, when you look at the news, everything is flashing negative on the news, but what are you doing to actually solve the problems? Do not tell me about the problem. Be a problem solver. And so I spend the rest of my life working and putting something in place. It may not happen next year, it may not happen a year after that, but over time, as I put my systems and processes in place, create the educational institution here where the kids can go through entrepreneurship class and teach them what they're not learning in the traditional class, then over time, I may not see it. Martin Luther King, he didn't see it in person, but I see a growth and I see a development in this area, and those numbers at the Metro, I feel, would decrease because of the Brandon Maye Legacy Foundation.
Exactly. I mean, you cannot be reactive. Government is not going to fix a government problem. Free market, successful people, are a better option. Teach people. And I hate Band-Aids. Don't put a Band-Aid on a problem. Go and find out why. Because if you keep putting Band-Aids of being reactive and knee-jerk reactions, I'm sorry, you're going to need another Band-Aid. Then you're going to need a box of Band-Aids. Then you're going to need a case of them.
All right. So to keep momentum in the foundation, I do a little event here and there like we did back during Christmas time, where we did some stuff for the kids. So I probably do about 4 philanthropist type of deals every year as I continue my research and my development. I don't want to go to major grant writers and stuff without having an actual plan in place. So I'm spending time researching so I can go to them and say, this is not what I'm looking to do. This is what we have been doing, and this is how we take it to the next level.
Absolutely. You have to be proactive and be prepared. All right. So how do you manage your time and priorities of what you're doing? Are you delegating? Tell people how to do it.
that's the biggest thing for me. A lot of people ask this question because they think I'm doing so many different things. But I'm trying to be very, very intentional this year. I break down things. I got a board over there that I break down what's important, what's most important, what's least important, and I put it in categories and I try to focus in on that. If it's not important, which is an area on my board, I take it off. If it's not important, if it becomes not important, I do my game planning on Sunday, kind of like with football. Football, we always do our game plan on Sunday, and then we activate that game plan throughout the week and try to be successful with it. So I take on the same principles that made me successful. That's why a lot of business owners and CEOs like to hire former athletes, because it's a mindset thing that's already set in place. You don't have to teach me because I'm already mentally set that on Sunday I game plan. On Monday, I start actually activating this game plan. So when it comes to actually being successful, really growing your business and trying to take your business to the next level, I told you earlier, there is not one human being on earth that can do it themselves. If they say self-made millionaire, I promise you, if you go pull the cover back, take the mask off their face, you're going to see multiple people. So I learned that. I learned to delegate things out now, hiring virtual assistants, have people doing stuff like even cleaning, like here at the house. I don't even clean no more. I hire a cleaning company to come in to clean. I try to delegate everything. If it doesn't bring me the biggest returns right now and it stops me from being successful in what I'm doing as a business owner, then I delegate it out.
I have said on this podcast so many times why I don't clean my own house. I can spend 5 hours doing something I hate and not very good at, and I'm complaining the whole time, or I can go do what I know how to do, make more money, and pay somebody else, a tenth of the price. And they do it better.
And not only that, when you make money creates opportunities for you to have time. You buy your time back. So you're giving somebody the responsibility to get 5 hours back, right? And then in those 5 hours, you're being productive and you creating something productive in those 5 hours that will give you more time. So now you don't have 24 hours in the day. You actually buy more hours in your day because you're using the time that most people will have and you double up. You're doubling up on the time. So that's the coolest thing about everything. Like you doubling up. You're actually looking at this and saying, washing clothes or cleaning this house or cooking this meal I can give this to somebody else. They can make sure I'm good on it.
And they do it better. Everybody has their circle, their God-given talent. You just look around for everybody's God-given talent that's not particularly yours, and then use them, and it multiplies because now they're hiring people outside their circle and they're hiring people outside theirs. The multiplier of your time, I haven't heard in a long time anybody put it like that again. And it's just, why do they want to have control and touch everything? Why does somebody think they have to do everything?
That was actually the negative points about me, the negative trait that I had. I wanted full control of everything. That's the negative side of being a former athlete. It's like you like to try to get the control of it, but you thinking that if I have direct control of it, then I'm actually controlling it and I'm actually being productive. Really, you're not. You're actually being the opposite. Once you take the rings off and you give it to somebody else, you can actually manage them and coach them to be like yourself, and you creating clones of yourself. So that's a challenge that I'm doing this year is I'm trying to create multiple Brandon Mayes because I know I'm a high performer and I know I go at a really, really high rate. But if I can get other individuals on the team and get them in the right spot, then I can be really, really good.
All right, Brandon, you are so inspiring. You're inspiring people around you and leading people. Who do you get inspired by? Who charges your batteries to keep you moving forward?
I like to say my number one motivation is my spiritual relationship with Christ. Understanding that that's the beginning and that's the end. He's the beginning and he's the end, right? And when you understand that as a human being, everything else kind of falls in place. And then, of course, throughout this journey, you gain some human beings that come in that inspire you in such a way. YouTube University is really good. Get a chance to see some of the top speakers and top motivators in the country and dialing in on those guys and ultimately having a purpose. Your purpose should keep you going every single day. What is your purpose as a human being? And once you start understanding that, you come up with something that will power you and fuel you every single day to get you to the next level.
Mr. Brandon Maye, I respect you so much. And I hope we can keep intertwining our lives at some points going forward. You inspire me. And I want to thank you for coming on the show today. And I hope you'll come back in the future and tell us where you're at, what's next. I think you can help just by your voice, your history, your life can inspire so many other people as well.
Yes, ma'am. I'm humble and I'm grateful for those words that you spread it towards me. That's why I keep going. People like you, thank you for what you have done in your partnership with my foundation. And we look forward to doing more work with you guys over the years. Making a difference. That's the goal. At the end of the day, it's about making a difference. So I really appreciate it. Thank you once again for having me on, and I look forward to next time.
All right. Once again, Brandon, can you let people know how to find you, what you're doing, and to join on with your cause?
You can connect with me on all social media platforms. You just type in Brandon Maye, and I should pop up. We're working on the foundation website right now. So we're working on some things right now. My website is brandonmaye.org. So you can connect with me on that also. So that's pretty much everything in a nutshell when it comes to me.
All right, Brandon, at the end of every show, we do a cheers. And I want to say cheers to trusting God, trusting the people around you, that truly everybody does want you to be successful. And I hope everybody listening to the podcast takes that. Everyone is meant to be successful. Find the right people around you. Cheers to you, Brandon Maye.
Nice. Cheers to you, first off, for having me on the show. Cheers to you for what you do, what you have done in the community. Cheers to the medical teams all over the world that's fighting this crazy, crazy pandemic virus. And cheers to success and faith and being able to jump out there and really have it within yourself that, hey, look, it has to happen or it has to happen. Someone said that before, so I'm saying it to you. It has to happen or it has to happen. So having faith and jumping out there and not being afraid to be your very best.
All right.
I appreciate you guys having me on. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Brandon. Have a great day. Go be successful.
Yes, ma'am.
Please be sure to subscribe to Cheers to Business podcast on iTunes or anywhere else that you get your podcast. Visit our Facebook and be sure to give us a like. And if you have any questions or topics you'd like us to discuss, shoot us an email from the website cheerstobusiness.com.